The checkpoint on Vale Station was never supposed to be important. Ships came and went every hour. Cargo freighters, mining transports, military patrol vessels. Commander Lewis Vuthertal had worked there long enough to know the routine by heart. But that morning, something felt wrong. The tall alien commander stood beside the scanning gate, her violet eyes watching the next ship crew enter the inspection line. "Cargo manifest doesn't match your declared weight," she said coldly. The human pilot standing in front of her did not argue. That was the first strange thing. Most pilots complained. They shouted. They tried to explain. But this one simply raised his hand slowly and turned toward the inspection scanners. The harsh white lights of the checkpoint fell across his face. And Commander Lewis felt her breath stop. He looked older now. His brown hair was touched with silver. A short beard covered his jaw. But the scar was still there. A thin white line ran from his left temple down toward his cheek. Lewis had seen that scar once before. 12 years ago. On a burning world. "Is there a problem, Commander?" the human asked calmly. Lewis realized her hand had moved to her sidearm. Her guards looked confused. "No," she said quickly. Her voice sounded strange in her own ears. "Proceed to Bay 7. The human nodded once and walked past her. As he passed, she smelled engine oil and metal. And suddenly the past came rushing back. Smoke. Fire. Screaming. Lieutenant Torax stepped beside her. "Commander, you look like you've seen a ghost." Lewis kept staring at the hallway where the human had disappeared. "I need everything on that ship," she said quietly. "Crew records. Registration history. Everything." Torax frowned. "What are we looking for?" Lewis did not answer. Because she already knew. The human pilot's ID said his name was Marcus Webb. But Lewis knew that was impossible. Because Marcus Webb was supposed to be dead. She had watched him die. Or at least, she thought she had. 12 years earlier. Back then, Lewis was not a commander. She was barely an adult. She worked a boring clerical job on a mining colony called Thressus 4. It was a quiet world at the edge of Federation space. Most people there just wanted peace. Families. Workers. Children. Then the raiders came. The Black Fang Syndicate was famous for one thing. They destroyed everything. Their ships arrived without warning. Defense stations were destroyed in minutes. The colony burned. Lewis still remembered the screams. Her supervisor shoved her into a supply closet. "Stay hidden," he told her. "No matter what you hear." So she waited. For 3 days. 3 long days in darkness. She heard gunfire. Explosions. People begging for help. And then silence. When the door finally opened, Lewis expected to see a raider. Instead she saw a human. He wore a torn flight suit. Blood ran down his face from a deep wound. The scar that would stay with him forever. "Can you walk?" he asked. Lewis tried. But her legs barely worked. So the human picked her up. He carried her through the burning colony. Outside waited a small cargo ship. It looked like a junkyard held together by hope. Inside were other survivors. The human's crew moved quickly, bringing people aboard. They called him captain. Even though his ship was barely bigger than a shuttle. Lewis asked him a question during the escape. "Why are you helping us?" The human looked at her for a moment. His eyes were tired. But kind. "Because someone has to." They escaped just before the raiders returned. The human ship jumped to the nearest Federation station. And then the captain disappeared. Lewis never even learned his real name. 3 months later she saw his face again. On a wanted poster. The Federation called him a criminal. Piracy. Murder. 47 dead on a transport ship. The bounty on his head was enormous. Lewis stared at the poster for a long time. She remembered the man who carried her through fire. That man was not a monster. So she kept her silence. Instead, she joined the military. She trained harder than anyone. She rose through the ranks. And she never forgot the human who saved her life. Present day. Now he had returned. Lewis sat in her office staring at the reports. Everything about Marcus Webb looked perfect. Too perfect. His identity was professionally created. False history. Fake records. Someone had spent a fortune hiding him. Then Lieutenant Torax returned with new information. "Commander, you need to see this." "What is it?" "That human pilot. His ship belongs to Karath Industries." Lewis froze. Karath Industries was one of the largest weapon companies in the galaxy. But that wasn't the problem. The problem was their past. Karath Industries had once been leaders of the Black Fang Syndicate. The same raiders who destroyed Thressus 4. "What's in his cargo?" Lewis asked. Torax swallowed. "Data cores. Military encrypted." "What kind of data?" Torax looked uneasy. "Evidence. Transaction records. Kill orders. Survivor testimonies." Lewis felt cold. Enough to destroy Karath Industries. The room fell silent. Then Torax spoke again. "I also checked the old bounty records on Marcus Webb." Lewis looked up slowly. "The transport ship massacre, the one he was blamed for." Torax nodded. "There were no civilians on that ship. Only Black Fang raiders." Lewis stared at the data. "So the Federation made him a criminal." Torax finished the thought. "So no one would believe the truth." Lewis stood slowly. "Where is he now?" "Bay 7. Lewis walked toward the door. The past was waiting for her. The cargo bay was quiet. Marcus Webb sat on a supply crate beside his ship. He was eating from a ration pack. Like a man who had nowhere else to be. When Lewis entered, he looked up. His eyes immediately noticed her sidearm. Then her face. "I wondered how long it would take," he said calmly. Lewis stopped 3 meters away. "You know who I am." Marcus nodded. "I know who you were. The scared girl in the closet." Lewis crossed her arms. "You were supposed to be dead." Marcus smiled slightly. "A lot of people wish that were true." "Why are you here?" Marcus stood slowly. For the first time, Lewis saw the exhaustion in his eyes. "Because I needed someone I could trust." Lewis laughed bitterly. "You picked a Federation officer. You picked the wrong person." Marcus shook his head. "No. I picked the right one." He pointed toward his ship. "In that cargo hold are 12 years of evidence. Every crime Karath Industries committed. Every colony destroyed. Every life they erased." Lewis felt her chest tighten. "Why not deliver it yourself?" Marcus looked tired. "Because I won't survive the trip. Karath has bounty hunters everywhere. If I leave this station, they'll kill me." Then he held out a small data chip. "I need you to take it." Lewis stared at the chip. "If I do this, my career is finished." Marcus nodded. "I know. But those people deserve justice." Lewis thought about Thressus 4. The screams. The smoke. The families who never escaped. Finally she reached forward. And took the chip. The tribunal. The investigation lasted 6 weeks. Commander Lewis Vuthertal stood before the Federation Council. She told them everything. About the Black Fang Syndicate. About Karath Industries. About the human pilot who had been hunted for telling the truth. At first, the council didn't believe her. But the data cores proved everything. Financial records. Secret orders. War crimes. Executives were arrested. Ships were seized. For the first time in decades, justice came to the outer colonies. But Marcus Webb disappeared again. No one saw him leave. No one knew where he went. Aftermath. Lewis was demoted. The Federation said she had violated protocol by working with a fugitive. But they also knew she had exposed one of the largest conspiracies in history. So the punishment was light. 3 months later she received a message. No sender. No location. Just an image. A small colony on a green world. Children played outside new buildings. Families worked in the fields. A new beginning. Below the image was a message. Thressus 5. Named for those who didn't survive. Thought you should know. Liu smiled softly. Some ghosts didn't haunt the past. Some ghosts built the future. And sometimes, a single human refusing to give up could change the entire galaxy.